Imagine standing on the shores of Hakata Bay in the year 1274. But the ocean is gone. The sea has vanished. In its place lies a floating continent, forged from wood, iron, and the sheer ambition of the Mongol Empire. 4,400 ships. They are not anchored loosely. They are chained together, hull to hull, deck to deck, forming a massive mobile city that blots out the horizon. You can hear the thunder of cavalry hooves galloping from one ship to another as if they were riding on solid ground. The sound of war horns, the clashing of metal, and the breathing of tens of thousands of men create a low vibrating hum that presses against your chest. Standing on the Genko Bōrui stone wall, Jiro, an old soldier with hands calloused from years of gripping a sword, squints against the wind. The breeze carries the scent of salt, mixed with something else, the smell of rusting iron and rotting timber. He tightens his grip on his spear, turning to the young recruit beside him.
Do not count them, boy! That is not a fleet! That is a monster, coiling itself to swallow this island whole!
His voice barely audible over the gale. The silence is torn apart not by trumpets, but by the screaming of the air itself. From the wooden continent, hundreds of trebuchet arms swing upward in unison. The sky darkens. Black dots appear, growing larger, descending with terrifying speed. Tetsu-pau, ceramic bombs. The most terrifying war technology of the 13th century touches Japanese soil for the first time. The earth convulses. The explosions are deafening, sounding less like thunder and more like the roar of an iron beast. Razor-sharp ceramic shrapnel sprays in every direction. Fire erupts, not normal red flame, but a chemical fire mixed with oil and sulfur, spewing thick, choking black smoke. A sentry is thrown backward by the shock wave, vanishing into the gray haze. But when the smoke clears, the wall remains. This structure, built with sweat and blood over 7 long years, holds. It is not bound by mortar, but by the ancient physics of dry stacking. The stones vibrate, sliding microscopically against each other to absorb the shock, then settle back into place. Buckets of freezing seawater are passed hand to hand. The hiss of water meeting fire creates blinding white steam that mixes with the black soot. Jiro throws a bucket onto a burning banner, then leans back against the stone, gasping for air. The granite radiates a lethal heat into his spine. Beside him, the young recruit is shaking, his eyes wide and white with terror. The boy mumbles, "There are too many. We cannot." Jiro grabs the boy's shoulder, his grip like a vice. "Look at this stone. It endures. So will you. Let them hit us. Let them tire. We are not going anywhere." Night falls over Hakata Bay, absolute and freezing, but darkness is a perfect cloak for predators. From the small docks, Japanese scout boats, light as bamboo leaves, silently push off from the shore. On one such boat sits Takezaki Suenaga. He is smiling. His grin shines white on a face scarred by battle and smeared with soot. He is not a hero from a moral fable. He is a mid-ranking samurai, a man starving for glory. He wears no heavy armor. He carries only rough cloth, a short blade at his waist, and coils of rope attached to grappling hooks. He looks up at the Mongol hull towering above him like a cliff face. To others, it looks like death. To Suenaga, it looks like a ladder to heaven. He clamps a dagger between his teeth, tasting the cold iron. "Up," he commands, sharp as a cut. The thud of iron hooks biting into wet wood is dry and hollow. The ropes go taut, or Suenaga and his suicide squad climb with the agility of apes. They spill onto the deck, and hell opens up. Inside the giant ships, it is a claustrophobic maze. Low wooden corridors, slippery with humidity and sea moss. Here, the famous Mongol long spears and composite bows are useless. They catch on the walls, they bang against the ceiling. This is the Japanese stage, the world of the short blade, the world of the sudden stab from the shadows. Lanterns swing violently, casting distorted, dancing shadows on the walls. Screams, gasps, and the wet sound of metal on flesh. Tsunaga hacks through the taut sail ropes. The canvas collapses like a wounded animal. Sanu, he grabs a torch and throws it into the dry food stores. Fire erupts instantly. Greedy flames lick at the wood, the oil, the cloth. Smoke begins to crawl along the floorboards, stinging and suffocating. Amidst the heat, Tsunaga screams, his eyes reflecting the destruction his own hands have wrought. Burn! Burn it all! Let them know the pain of this land. Then, as quickly as they arrived, the phantoms retreat. They dive into the black water, swimming back to the small boats waiting in the void. Tsunaga sits on the floorboards, his chest heaving. He looks back. A Mongol ship is blazing, illuminating a patch of the dark sea. Sparks drift upward, mixing with the cold stars. He counts his men. 1, 2, 3. There is an empty space on the bench. He stares at the end of a severed rope, where water drips, or perhaps it is blood. No one speaks. The silence returns, save for the slapping of waves against the hull. From the distant wall, Jiro sees the fire. He does not smile. He simply nods. A message has been delivered. You may be giants, but you bleed. The next dawn exposes the fleet's wounds. General Hongdagu stands on the flagship, looking at the charred skeleton of a burnt vessel. His face hardens like cold iron. The pride of an empire that conquered the world is stung by these mosquito bites. He makes a decision that sounds militarily sound, but is spiritually fatal. Lock them, he growls. The sound of heavy hammers rings across the fleet. Iron bolts, thick as a man's wrist, are driven deep into the wood. Heavy chains are pulled tight, linking ship to ship, tighter, stronger. He wants to turn the fleet into an unassailable floating fortress where no small boat can slip through and no wave can rock them. But Hongdagu has forgotten one thing. When you lock everything together for strength, you rob it of its flexibility. He has just turned his magnificent fleet into a single solid block, a block ready to receive disaster. 6 weeks pass in a suffocating stalemate. It is the hottest summer in living memory. The sea is flat, glassy, reflecting a sun that burns the eyes. The air is thick. The smell of rotting kelp, waste, and despair rises from both sides of the line. Black flies swarm over water slick with oil. Jiro and Tsunaga sit against the stone wall. They share a ball of dried rice, chewing mechanically as if eating gravel. Tsunaga stops chewing. He looks up, squinting. It's too quiet. The wind has died. It is true. Not a breath of air. The banners hang limp. But the sky is bruising. From the horizon, a sickly purple color is spreading, swallowing the blue. The air pressure drops suddenly. The soldiers' ears pop. A seagull gliding above simply drops from the air like a stone, dead before it hits the ground. Jiro stands up instantly. Goosebumps rise along his arms. He feels it, in the air, in his marrow. This is not rain. This is divine wrath. He whispers, his voice trembling but certain. It is coming.